Explore your world. It's the Inside Travel Talk podcast and radio show, presented by BluePlanetVacations.com. Call or text the show now, 801-649-3700, 801-649-3700, and check out the podcast at InsideTravelTalk.com. And now, here are your hosts, Patrick Wiscombe and Mark Faldmo.
Live from Salt Lake City, Utah, this is the Inside Travel Talk podcast and radio show. Hello there. I am Patrick Wiscombe, the vacation nerd. Mark Faldmo will be in the studio here in just a moment. He's outside printing off this week's travel and cruise deals of the week. The entire purpose of this radio show and podcast is to share with our listeners the latest travel and cruise deals designed to help you save money and help you plan and book your next vacation. So I guess if you're looking for a reason to listen to us, consider this travel show your must-listen personal daily travel briefing if you travel or if you just want to start traveling. And this show is proudly presented by my friend's company, BluePlanetVacations.com. Coming up on today's show, we will be talking about Boeing's 737 MAX 7 planes coming back online. There was a problem, and they've addressed it. The problem with sargassum. I still kind of chuckle every time I hear that word, Mark.
Yeah.
40% off Cancun vacations. Explora Journeys, which is MSC's company, is getting into the river cruise business. Viking releases their 2028-29 sailing schedule. Man, that's a long way out.
That is.
And that's good news for our listeners, which means that $25 Viking deposits are back, as well as free and reduced airfare. That is great news for our listeners. And of course, we've got the travel news of the week, which we'll get to here in just a moment. But Mark is back from Palm Springs. You were sweating. 113 degrees in Palm Springs. And I guess I'll just ask, what were you doing in Palm Springs?
Yeah. Luckily, I was in meetings, so I was inside most of the time, except for the hotel we were at. The rooms are separated from the convention center, so we had to walk outside for 3 to 5 minutes to get to where we're going. So it was hot, but it was a really good meeting. It's called GTM, which is where we go as travel advisors. It's by invitation only. We kind of do speed dating with vendors. So it's 3 days of 6-minute appointments with 60 to 80 different suppliers.
If you're going to get to know a company, that seems like a really great way to meet some new vendors.
Last year when I went to this event, I met 2 suppliers, one that does transfers and hotels, that is now probably my second leading vendor that I go to
really?
Help customers out. This year was a lot of known entities to me, but it was still really good to either reconnect or strengthen those connections with those vendors.
Let's get to the travel news headlines. Boeing's 737 MAX 7 has been cleared for takeoff. I guess the first question is, for any traveler or anyone just in the airline industry, why does that matter?
So the 737 MAX aircraft have faced some scrutiny from FAA approvals. The MAX 7 is a smaller variant. It's the smallest of the 737 MAX family. But why this is important is because airlines like Southwest can now optimize their route system to use this. They were hoping to get this plane several years ago.
That's what I thought.
They've been flying routes with larger airplanes where they don't necessarily need that capacity of the larger airplanes. And so depending on the variant, it's about 135 seats, where the other versions are 180 or more seats. So this will allow airlines to effectively service some of the smaller cities.
Are they online now, or they're going to be available soon?
They'll be online soon. Southwest says once they take delivery, it'll take 3 to 6 months to start getting them into service. Right now, Boeing has built, I think, about 30 of the aircraft. So once they're delivered, it'll take a while for them to get in. But they'll be with the new cabin interiors, which I did fly in Southwest to Palm Springs last week. the new cabin interiors. I think we talked about that
Yeah.
last year,
Yeah.
and some people were saying they don't like them, but I loved it. They're great, comfortable seats. They are thinner, but the
Meaning
new cabin
not as wide?
interiors are not as thick in the back. So they're
Oh.
the same width, but they're narrower. So
Oh,
they
interesting.
can actually fit another row of seats in because they're narrower seats and not so thick.
Hawaiian Airlines says that they're going to upgrade their fleet for inter-island flights.
With their merger with Alaska Airlines, they're going to start bringing in 737s to run the inter-island flights rather than the aging 717 flights. The Boeing 717 is one of my favorite aircraft, but it is older and it didn't have a very long production run. It's harder to get replacement parts and to keep those maintained. So this will be good when they bring in those new 737s for inter-island flights.
August 8th, this past week, so a week ago, were the fires that took place on Maui. And I don't know if you saw this, Mark, but Front Street is actually open. There's no businesses, but at least you can actually drive on Front Street now.
I did see that. So saw some interesting comments. Why is it open if there's nothing there? But that does make progress to at least get people down in that area.
You basically go to the boat harbor. That's really,
Yes.
And go see the banyan tree, which, by the way, that tree has fully recovered.
Yes, it has, which is nice because that's one of the places that people love to go in Maui and visit.
I don't know why I found this story so funny. It's either the word or the word battle. Yeah. Mexico is pledging $115 million to battle sargassum. For anyone who doesn't know what sargassum is, let's give that first and then what the $115 million is going to go for.
Sargassum is seaweed. If you're out in the ocean, you see yellow clumps of floating seaweed, and that is sargassum.
Ugh.
This year is the worst year by far, double the amount of the next highest year, which was last year. It flourishes in warmer water, so the warmer the water is, the more sargassum that is created, and it causes a problem for Mexico beaches. And so that's why the government is placing this money into help controlling the problem. Because once it gets inland, it creates hydrogen sulfide in the water,
Oh, it stinks,
which starts rotten egg smell.
Ugh.
But when it's out in the ocean, it creates natural protection and habitat for fish and turtles and other marine life. So it's really beneficial. But the way the currents are coming, it's driving a lot of that into Mexico. The resorts do a pretty good job at cleaning it up. Although this year the bloom has been pretty massive getting in there. And so the government is spending more money to capture more sargassum offshore. So they have vessels that go and capture it before it gets to shore. A lot of the hotels and areas have nets about 100, 200 yards offshore that captures it so it doesn't all get into the beach. And then they're investing money to help sweep it and vacuum it off of the beaches when it comes in. So that's good for travelers that they're fighting this. It's been something they've been fighting for years. One thing to keep in mind, it's hard to say where sargassum is going to show up. You can be on a beach that's really bad, and then 2 miles down, it's a crystal clear beach. So it's not everywhere. It's kind of hit or miss. It's something that the Mexican government is really keeping an eye on and investing in ways to clean that up to make those Cancun vacations more enjoyable.
We want you to be part of the show. So how do you get a hold of us? You can call or text us at 801-649-3700, 801-649-3700. I think Jenny's got the right idea here, Mark. She wants to go to Italy, but somewhere different and unique. What would you recommend? If there's one person that knows Italy, it's Mark. What are you going to recommend, Mark?
I would go actually somewhere that's not mainland Italy. And it's a destination that's been getting a lot of press lately. I would recommend Sardinia. Sardinia is one of those destinations that really surprises travelers when they already think they know about Italy. People know Rome, Florence, Venice. Sardinia is distinctly different from the rest of Italy. It has a lot of culture, small villages, rugged mountains, and great beaches.
Without sargassum.
Without sargassum. Yep. It's actually has some really good historical treasures on the island. And there was a civilization there called the Nuragic civilization, which began around the Bronze Age. And they constructed thousands of massive stone towers all around the island. And so there's some interesting archaeological sites to go to. Some of them are UNESCO World Heritage sites, and some of those stone structures date back more than 3,000 years. So there's interesting history to it. The one thing that it's known for is its beaches. Sardinia has the most beautiful water in the Mediterranean. White sand beaches, dramatic cliffs, incredibly clear turquoise blue water. I have been to Sardinia once. It was on a cruise ship, but that's the one thing I did notice is the water in Sardinia is amazing. You don't have to choose between a European cultural vacation or a beach destination. You can get both in Sardinia. I went up to a little family farm in the mountains where they had cheese and olive tasting. Very interesting excursions like that and activities that you can do. Sardinia, it's the largest island in the area. Sicily is a little bit larger, but it's 170 miles from north to south. So when you're deciding on where to go, you kind of have to decide what type of vacation you want before you choose on a hotel. The main area is called Costa Smeralda, and this is where all the luxury hotels are at. Good beaches, yacht harbors, turquoise coves. It's kind of the iconic area of Sardinia. Other areas, if you're interested in history, restaurants, you would want to go to the Cagliari. I think I'm saying that right, Cagliari area. And this is actually Sardinia's capital. So it has historic neighborhoods, restaurants, markets, easy access to the main beach in the area. And then if you want a classic beach vacation where you're just on the beach, you'd go east of the capital city to an area called Villa Smiris. And it is famous for its beaches, great for couples, great for families. Just a relaxing Mediterranean area. And then up north, an area called Alghero, which is where you'd get the small villages, kind of the charm of some of the what you would expect in Italy from those small places, family-run restaurants, easy access to some of the best beaches in the area.
Jenny, there's no doubt you're going to have some additional follow-up questions, so let me give out Mark's number just while we're here. 888-718-7717, 888-718-7717, and all of the contact information is on blueplanetvacations.com. I should have moved this while we were talking about Mexico, battling sargassum. This is the travel deal of the week. So if you want to go to Cancun or that portion of Mexico, the travel deal of the week is...
It's to one of my favorite hotels. It's the El Dorado Seaside Palms, and it's save up to 40% off. El Dorado Seaside Palms is an adults-only hotel. I love it because all of the palm trees that are there, all of the paths are palm-lined. One of the activities is you paint palm trees and then go put them on the path, and you can come back years later and your coconut has grown into a palm tree. It's a great resort. A little bit spread out, but it's on one of the best beaches in the area. It does have a little cove that does kind of help protect it from that sargassum, but they do see that there. But if you're looking for a great adults-only, all-inclusive escape, can save 40% off at El Dorado Seaside Palms as long as you book before August 31st.
Okay, so there's some urgency here. There's about a 2-week window here.
2-week window here. And that's for anything that's available in 2026 and 2027.
How many times have you been to Cancun?
I've been to Cancun 30 or so, probably a little bit more. I've stayed at this hotel 5 times. This is actually where we've talked about hurricanes before. Yeah. This is the hotel I stayed at when I went through a hurricane a few years back. So I think in 2021
when I was there. In the pool?
So. Yes. Yeah.
Hey, so what'd you do on vacation? I hung out in the pool and went through a hurricane.
Went through a hurricane.
It was pretty breezy.
Yeah.
Eldorado Seaside Palms is the name of that hotel. Take advantage of that offer. 40% off, adults only retreat. Again, Eldorado Seaside Palms. Call Mark in the office, get the conversation started, get your deposit down. And there's no obligation either. The phone number again is 888-718-7717. When we come back, it is time for the portion of the show called the Just Cruising segment. This is the segment of the show that has made us famous around the country and around the world. We'll get to Explora Journeys, an MSC company getting into the river cruising business. We'll talk about that. Of course, we've got the cruise deal of the week, $25 deposits on Viking. This is unheard of. This might be the headline of the show. $25 deposits to book a river cruise or an ocean cruise on Viking. And we've got a new segment of the show called This or That. Vacation Edition. We want you to play along. That is next when the Inside Travel Talk podcast or radio show continues. Alongside my friend, Mark Faldmo. My name is Patrick Wiscombe, the Vacation Nerd. We'll be right back.
Taking you to destinations around the world. The Inside Travel Talk podcast and radio show is presented by BluePlanetVacations.com, America's best travel advisors. Call or text the show now. 801-649-3700. 801-649-3700. Thanks for listening. We'll be right back.
Inside Travel Talk is brought to you by Eldorado Spa Resorts. Escape to Cancun's Riviera Maya with Eldorado's more inclusive experience, featuring gourmet dining, premium drinks, beachfront luxury, and unforgettable extras like snorkeling, beach clubs, and curated excursions. To start planning your all-inclusive escape to Eldorado Spa Resorts, contact Blue Planet Vacations at 888-718-7717 or blueplanetvacations.com.
Imagine watching the sun rise over Hawaii, sipping a tropical drink at an all-inclusive resort in Mexico, or wandering the charming streets of Europe. The best part? Your vacation can help pay for your next one. With Delta Vacations and Blue Planet Vacations, SkyMiles members earn miles on flights, earn medallion qualification dollars on vacation packages, and can earn up to 10,000 bonus miles on qualifying bookings. Wherever you're dreaming of next, let Blue Planet Vacations help you get there. Visit BluePlanetVacations.com to start planning.
The Inside Travel Talk podcast and radio show presented by BluePlanetVacations.com contains travel deals, promotions, and offers that may be time-sensitive. All offers and information were accurate when the show aired. Travel deals and offers change constantly and are capacity-controlled and subject to change without notice.
Now, back to the Inside Travel Talk podcast and radio show, presented by BluePlanetVacations.com, America's best travel advisors. Call or text the show right now, 801-649-3700, 801-649-3700, and check out the podcast at InsideTravelTalk.com. Here's Patrick Wiscombe and Mark Faldmo.
Welcome back to the Inside Travel Talk podcast and radio show. Hi there, I'm Patrick Wiscombe, the Vacation Nerd, next to the well-traveled Mark Faldmo and owner of BluePlanetVacations.com. This is the Just Cruising segment. This is the segment of the show that has made us famous around the country and around the world. And we will be talking about Explora Journeys getting into the river cruising business. At least that's a rumor. $25 deposits on Viking river cruises on their ocean product. We've got the cruise deal of the week, and we've got a new part of the show called This or That, the vacation edition of This or That. And we want you to play along at home. Wherever you're listening, we want you to text us. You get to hear our opinions about what we would do if we have to choose between two different things. Let's get to the cruise news headlines, Mark. Let's start with Explora Journeys, rumored to be getting into the river cruising business. So this is a company owned by MSC. It's a luxury product for sure, but the river cruising was a twist that I didn't see coming.
And if this does come to fruition, it will really put some pressure on some of the high-end luxury river cruising.
Yes.
Because I think last week we talked about the new ship that came out, the Explorer 3.
Mm-hmm.
Their ships feel like a yacht, and they look like a big mega yacht. If they bring that level of service, that level of quality to river cruising, it'll probably be the best river cruise line for luxury on the rivers.
Keep an eye on this company, Explorer Journeys. They're doing some pretty interesting things. And like you say, if they can execute on what they want to do, you're right. This is going to put a lot of pressure on the other river cruise companies. Cruise competition is getting pretty serious for the Caribbean's winter season.
This is a really interesting development because this year there's 10% more capacity than there was last year.
Oh, wow.
And last year there was 8% more capacity. And so over 2 years, there's 18% more capacity, which means they're going to have to find a way to sell those ships. Now, right now, prices have dropped only about 2 to 4%, depending on that. But I think looking at some of the data, we're going to start seeing some of those last minute cruise deals out there, seeing the prices go down. What has caused this is Norwegian moved some of their ships out of Europe into the Caribbean this year, which means just Norwegian alone has 40% rise in Caribbean capacity just by itself.
Jeez.
To sell. MSC moved the World Europa, which was scheduled to sell in the Middle East. They moved that to the Caribbean.
Did you say the Middle East?
The Middle East, yeah.
Really?
It was scheduled to sail the Persian Gulf area.
Okay, well, we know that's not going to happen.
Yes.
Not anytime soon, anyway. So
Yeah,
they're going to have World America in Miami, and they're also going to have World Europa here?
Correct.
Whoa,
Yeah.
Man, that's some
So
massive capacity.
a lot of capacity just between those two cruise lines. I really do think that if you're looking to go on a Caribbean cruise, in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to probably start seeing some of those prices come down. So just watch for that. Give us a call and, we can look at that. But that's a great way to see the Caribbean. Also, there's some other factors as cruise lines are competing for the private island factor.
Oh, yeah.
Norwegian is opening up their Great Tides water park, which will compete with Royal Caribbean's Perfect Day at Coco Cay. Interestingly enough, the two islands are about a mile apart from each other. You can see them, but they'll have the two best water parks in the Caribbean, just at random small islands out there in the Bahamas.
Is it Great Stirrup Cay, Norwegians?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
When Nikki and I were there, we were actually looking at the Royal Caribbean ships over on their private island while we were on Norwegian's Great Stirrup Cay.
They're really trying to get this up. And with all this extra capacity, I think the prices will be coming down a little bit in the next few weeks for Caribbean cruises.
Let's stick with Norwegian here. They're adopting a more competitive pricing strategy. What does that mean?
I have to give some background on this. Pre-COVID, 2018, 2019, I was at a meeting with Norwegian's CEO and the executive staff, and they said, we're changing how we're pricing things. We feel like we're penalizing our best guests, their most frequent guests, by selling them something. You can buy on board, you can put on pre-cruise deposits. There are some people that book right when the ships come out, and then the prices would come down later. And then in many cases, they were in non-refundable deposits or whatever, so they couldn't change to the lower price. So Norwegian came out with a pricing strategy that when that first comes out, that's going to be the lowest price, period. But then they got a new CEO, COVID happened, and that changed. And their initial prices were pretty high, and then they've discounted. And so I think Norwegian is really trying to balance that. I really wish they would go back to that policy where when the ship first comes out, that is going to be the best price.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to penalize people that are booking early, because the people that book early help you project your future sailings. And it's beneficial to have people book early rather than last minute like they are in now. Because especially on Norwegian, people are now programmed the last couple of years to just wait till 2 or 3 months out and book it when the price is low. I think that's a good move on their part.
Yeah, agreed. Viking has opened their bookings for the 2028, 2029. These are the ocean voyages, not the river cruises,
These are
right?
ocean voyages,
Okay.
yes. And so they've added 700 departures 80 voyages, spanning 301 ports in 84 countries.
Jeez.
To their 2028 and 2029 season. And they've added some really unique things. Viking, unlike a lot of other cruise lines, is they might spend a few weeks in a region, but they don't duplicate a lot of ports. Sometimes they do, but you really get some interesting diversity of ports with Viking ocean cruises. One that I think is really interesting is Japan Discovery. Viking has not done a lot in Japan. This visits Japan plus South Korea. So it starts in Tokyo, goes up to the north of Japan to Sapporo, and then back down to South Korea. It's a 15-day cruise with 9 tours included, and then again, 2 countries. Japan is kind of on the hot list of destinations now. And a cruise is a really good way to see Japan.
Oh, yeah.
The language barrier sometimes can be a little bit difficult. And so when you're able to see all of these different places, but have people help you with the language barrier, you really get to experience Japan in a really good way on a cruise.
Didn't I see something about Viking going to Australia and New Zealand as well? Or is that a different line?
Yes. Yep. No, that's one of the new itineraries they've added, which again, it's a 15-day cruise, 9 tours, 2 countries, starts in Auckland, ends in Sydney, but it sails down Rotorua, Wellington, Christchurch, and then down to the southern part of New Zealand, then across to a place I want to visit, but goes to Hobart in Tasmania, and then Melbourne, ends in Sydney.
Gee,
so
how many days is that?
That's 15 days.
Ooh, wow. That's a good itinerary.
That is, yeah. And then the next itinerary we're going to highlight is one that I absolutely want to do. They call it In Search of the Northern Lights.
There we go.
Now, this is interesting because these cruises are January through March. So they're in the middle of winter. But you leave from London. So it has a stop in London, stop in Edinburgh in Scotland, then goes to Bergen in Norway, and then goes up the coast of Norway with stops in Narvik, Alta, which is one of the furthest north cities in the world, and then ends in Tromsø.
Whoa.
And that one is a 13-day cruise, includes 6 tours and 3 countries. Viking Ocean has some really unique itineraries, and I think the best part of it is the promotion they currently have.
So the cruise deal of the week is what you're going to say right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Viking is our cruise deal of the week. And what's their promotion?
$25 deposits. So one thing about Viking is their deposits are generally non-refundable once you put it down. And so if you're booking this far in advance, on a normal deposit, you'd be paying $500 to $700 per person, which is non-refundable. Now you're just paying $25 per person to hold one of these.
So still non-refundable, but it's $25.
But it's $25. Yeah. And then they also have reduced airfare and some reduced fares on certain cabin categories. And this is one that you also have to book by August 31st. So you've got about 2 weeks to book this promotional sale. And that's good for anything that's out there in the system. But if you do want to book a Viking cruise, some of these unique sailings, the 29 dates, will be close to sold out in 3 to 6 months, probably. Yeah. So Viking is one that sells really early on.
That's a phenomenal deal.
It is. It's a great deal.
This is a first for the podcast and radio show. We're going to play this or that, and we want you to play at home. We want you to be part of this one. This is just basically designed to facilitate conversation. Whoever you're with right now, what would you do? This or that vacation edition. I don't have any music for it. So Mark, I'll ask you the question. Would you rather have a free flight or a free hotel?
I'd rather have a free flight.
I knew you were going to say that.
So, because some flights can be pretty expensive and you can usually find a good deal on a hotel. There's a lot more hotel options than flight options.
Okay. I'd probably take the free flight as well. Would you rather stay in a hotel or would you rather stay in an Airbnb?
Personally, I'd rather stay in a hotel.
Really?
I've always been kind of like being in an airport terminal. I kind of like the hustle and bustle. A hotel kind of has that same feeling to me.
If it's just for a night or two, hotel. If we're staying 3 days or longer, I'd probably go Airbnb. Before we take off, let's get to the final section of the show, which is Mark's vacation tips and tricks. And this portion of the show is specifically for our listeners in Utah. It's presented by Grizzly Tires. Do you need tires or auto service you can trust? Go to Grizzly Tire Alignment and Auto Service for top tire brands, alignments, oil changes, and more. Schedule online at grizzlytires.com or call them 801-895-4749, 801-895-4749. That's for our Utah listeners. The question I have for you, Mark, is basic economy worth it? And I would say it depends.
I'd say it depends. If you had asked me last year, I'd say no, definitely not. I've evolved a little bit on this, where if it's a short flight, I think the basic economy probably would be worth it.
So are we talking like 2 hours or less?
Probably 2 hours or less.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like for us here in Salt Lake, something to Las Vegas, Denver, Phoenix, I may consider the basic economy. Depending on the airline. If it was Delta, I wouldn't, because I would want my Sky Miles and all of that. But if I had to go on another airline, I probably would do basic economy on that.
Your number one choice always is Delta or Southwest, correct? But Delta, then Southwest?
Yeah, Delta, then Southwest. Don't let Heather hear this, but my number 3 would be American. She hates American because she's had some pretty bad experiences on American, but I started off with American. I'm a million miler on American, so I do have some extra perks on American.
I know she's in the studio with you right now. Let's bring her on. No, I'm kidding.
No.
Let's not. Just kidding, Heather. As we take off here, let's recap the cruise deal of the week, which is Viking $25 deposits for their ocean cruises. And they've got the 3 cruises in search of Northern Lights, Australia and New Zealand, and of course, Japan. They also released their bookings for the 2028, 2029 ocean voyages.
Yes. Yeah.
For that $25 deposit. And then let's talk about the 40% off the travel deal of the week.
Yep. So 40% off at the El Dorado Seaside Palms in beautiful Cancun and the Riviera Maya area.
Take advantage of that. Let me give out the cell number, 888-718-7717. I said cell number, didn't I? I meant the office number. 888-718-7717, 888-718-7717, and Mark will post all of this on blueplanetvacations.com. New episodes of this show are released each weekday, or encore presentations released every day on thevacationnerd.co. That's my website, thevacationnerd.co. And weekly on Mark's website, which is InsideTravelTalk.com. And this show is available on all podcast platforms. Just do a search for Inside Travel Talk, Mark's show. The Vacation Nerd is my show on your favorite podcast platform. Well, that's it. We're done. We've done our job. Now it's your turn to get out and see the world. Life is short. Book a trip. Go with somebody. Quit talking about doing stuff. Just get out and do it. And we'll help you get there. That's where Mark comes in. 888-718-7717. Call Mark. So for my good friend, Mark Faldmo, owner of BluePlanetVacations.com, my name is Patrick Wiscombe, the Vacation Nerd. Thank you so much for listening. We truly appreciate you joining us each and every week for this very show. We don't have a podcast. We don't have a business without you. So a sincere thank you. Make it a fantastic week, and we'll talk to you next week.
That's it. That's the end of the show. You've been listening to the Inside Travel Talk podcast and radio show with Patrick Wiscombe and Mark Faldmo. Presented by BluePlanetVacations.com. Book your adventure right now. Call 888-718-7717. That's 888-718-7717. Thanks for listening. Have a great week.
Inside Travel Talk is brought to you by TravelX Insurance Services. Their travel insurance plans can help protect you and your vacation. TravelX is known for their award-winning customer service and high claims paid rate. Contact Blue Planet Vacations at 888-718-7717 or blueplanetvacations.com for more information.